What is up, Coach Emma here, and welcome back to the Fit Habit Life podcast, where we cut through the noise, talk real health and fitness, sustainable fat loss, and habits that actually work. And on today's episode, I will be talking about how to know if your trainer sucks, trainer or coach suck. And the reason, if you listen to the last episode, I was talking about how to get the most out of your coaching relationship. I was like, I don't think I've done an episode on this. But I see all the time, I say this because if I'm trying to improve my health or invest in something and I'm not getting the results, but I don't know any better and I don't know what to expect, because most people have never had a trainer or a coach before when they look for one. That's why they're looking for one. And so I just wanted to go over some red flags to be wary of and cautious of if you are looking at investing in a coach or a trainer. So, before I dig in, just wanted to thank you for listening to the show. If you've enjoyed it, if you've learned something from it, if you could rate the show or share the show or subscribe, that just helps me get in front of more people and helps me help more people. Right? That's my goal, is to just help people get the results that they want, the results that they need, and fast track their way there, not end up on a 10-year plus journey like I've been on. So anyway, now let's dig in. Red flags your trainer or coach suck. So I'll kind of start generalized, and then I'll kind of dig in to the specifics, because a coach and a trainer are different. Right? A trainer is usually in person. A personal trainer, right? They're in person, you're meeting them somewhere and they're training you. A coach is a pretty broad category. A coach could be online, it could be in person, it could be a combination of the two. And usually it entails nutrition and training and lifestyle help to help usually achieve a body composition or health goal. Because I'm talking in the health sphere. There are other type of coaches out there, like business coaches, financial coaches. I can't think of other coaches right now, but you get the gist. So anyway, red flag in general. I'll do generals first. So in general, red flag is if your coach makes you feel bad about something. Like if you're scared to go to your coach and say you had like a whole chocolate bar, or you had fries and a big gulp, and you don't want to share that with your coach, that's probably a red flag. They're not a great coach. So I touched on the other episode, like I have clients tell me openly what they have all the time. Because a coach is not meant to judge you. A coach is supposed to help you make changes that you want to make. And so if you feel judged by your coach, you feel like your coach makes you feel bad about the decisions you're making, like they're not a great coach. Maybe they don't know better, but I mean, if you're going to somebody for help, you're already being vulnerable. So then if that person that you're going to for help is making you feel bad, like that's not worth it. You should not do that. And if I'm your coach and I'm making you feel bad, just tell me, because that's not my goal. I don't think I do that. I've never had anybody tell me that. Because really, no judgment here. As I said, clients come to me openly. They tell me all the things that they hate. And I'm like, cool. Based on your goals, that's not really contributing to your goals, but would you like some advice and some, maybe an option for a better decision next time you go out to eat at that place? Usually they're like, yeah, that sounds great. They don't always do it, but a good coach has to be patient, because these changes, most people, the changes that they have to make, they have had those habits for decades. Like it's a deep rooted thing. It's not going to happen overnight. You telling your client, that's a terrible decision, I don't know why you did that, yada, yada, yada. It's like, that's not going to help. at all. So if your coach is telling you that, fire them. If your coach is giving you a meal plan, this is kind of controversial because in the bodybuilding space, it's very common. But I'm in the health space. Bodybuilding is not healthy. So, if you're just trying to improve your quality of life, your body composition, if you're not competing as a bodybuilder, if your coach gives you a meal plan, they're in the business of making you reliant on them for the rest of your life because they're not teaching you anything. A good coach is going to teach you throughout the process. So when you're done working with them, you can continue what you've been working on together. That's what a good coach does. So, meal plans are a no-go. A good coach or a bad coach will build a plan that you have to stick to that doesn't fit your lifestyle. So, if you're like, and so a good coach, if you're like, hey, I want to compete in a triathlon. One, most people coming to me are trying to change their body composition. So I would be open and honest and be like, hey, that's cool. That's awesome. That's probably not conducive to your goals right now. Also, this is how much training that would involve. Given it's not really conducive to your goals and it would involve a lot of training, do you really want to do that? Usually they'd be like, no. I'd be like, cool. This is what would best serve you. Does this seem like it would fit your lifestyle? And if they're like, yes, but I might need some tweaks, I'd be like, cool. What tweaks do you need? Is it a time constraint? Is it a lack of equipment? Is it a just not interested in part of it? Anyway, a good coach takes in your input and your lifestyle and takes them into account because a good coach wants you to sustain these results for life. As I said, performance, bodybuilding, those are not health related. There's what I like to call, it's like a triangle of awareness. So there's performance on one end, so like elite athletes. There's aesthetics on one end, like bodybuilding, and then there's health on the other end. I try to get my clients to be in the middle. So look good, feel good, move well, be pretty strong. But if you're trying to go to extremes on one end, you're going to compromise the other attributes. So if you're becoming a bodybuilder, your performance is going to tank because you're going to be super low calorie, low body fat percentage, which is not conducive to strength. If you're going super extreme to health, I've seen really weird stuff. Usually lower caloric intake, probably less muscle mass because as you push the muscle mass, that can be stressful on the system. Usually don't look as good. And, well, this subjectively, I think bodybuilding to a certain extent is a little freaky. But anyway, and your performance probably is not going to be the best either because, as I said, you're probably not going to be eating as many calories. Performance, I was a D1 athlete. A lot of people listening to this probably were elite athletes at some level. Our bodies are like broken at the end of the day. In the amount of calories we have to consume, the amount of stress we put our bodies under, it's not healthy. And you can't be shredded and performing at an elite level. Your body needs body fat percentage. Body fat is really important for performance, recoverability. Anyway, point being, a good health coach is going to meet you where you're at, but educate you on how the plan that you want or the plan that we're building is going to get you to your goal, but making changes and adjustments. Bad coach is just going to make you do what they tell you to. And there's like a balance because as a coach, I have to hold my clients accountable, but we kind of build a plan out together. And then based on their goals, right, and my knowledge, I'm the professional, right? I'm like, okay, this is what we have to do. Does this seem reasonable to you? Yes. Cool. Execute. And so I make sure my clients execute on it. But that's not this is the plan you have to do, and if you don't do it, you're never going to reach your goals. No, bad coaches do that. I'll switch to trainers because I've seen a lot of crazy stuff recently. So a bad trainer does not have a plan. When you go in person, and this, like, I train a couple people in person. When I go in person, I evaluate how they're feeling, right? And so maybe the plan that I had, we have to make adjustments on. But I have a progression in my brain that I'm trying to get them to. And some days, as I said, if they're not feeling good, they didn't get a lot of sleep, we're probably not going to push the weights super hard. Maybe we'll just focus on mobility. But we have a structure and a routine and a plan to see progression so that we can build muscle, improve their metabolism, burn body fat. Bad coach doesn't have a game plan at all. A bad coach or trainer shows up and does whatever sounds good. Doesn't have a progression planned. Just tries to make you sweat and feel like you worked hard. And that's really common. And it's quite unfortunate. Because as I said, obviously, if you're in person and on that day your client's not feeling very good, then yeah, you're probably not going to push a barbell back squat. You're probably not going to try to hit a PR even if that was on the game plan, right? On the docket based on what you were doing. You might wait till the next session. But you had a plan. You had a program outlined for your client's goals. There's a lot of trainers out there that don't have a program outlined for their clients' goals. So, if every workout you're doing with your trainer is completely different, all the movements are completely different, the adaptation you're trying to elicit is completely different, the exercises you're doing are completely different every time, they're not going to move you to that goal super quickly. And if your trainer is trying to constantly make everything super exciting and novel, that's also kind of a red flag. I'd say a yellow flag. Because in the service industry, which is what we are, as a trainer, as a coach, we're in the service industry, we're in the people industry, we're helping people. You want your clients to be interested. So I could see why switching things up would make it exciting. But that's not going to best serve your client. And really, it's the same shit recycled over and over and over again that really get the best results. The best movements out there are compound lifts. There's only a handful of them. So we're constantly going to be doing the same things. So if you're trying to make everything new or fancy or change things up every single workout, you're probably going to run out of things to do pretty quickly. But also your client's going to get really bored. So if you instead educated your client on, hey, we're going to be doing basically the same movements over time, but it's going to be really awesome because we're going to be able to measure your strength and your progress. And you're going to get really strong in these movements. You're going to learn how to do these super well. You're going to be like a pro at these movements by the time we're done working together. You sold your client. Boom. And these movements are going to get you to your goal faster because they help you build the most amount of muscle possible. Done. Your clients will be bought in. You just have to be confident. So anyway, if your coach is constantly and trainer are constantly doing different things all the time, kind of a red flag. Like I said, I write programs for my clients. I have some programs that are kind of short. I have some, usually I run them for about 5 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer if my client's continuing to progress, sometimes a little bit shorter depending on the adaptation I'm trying to elicit. But it's at least 2 weeks of the same workouts. Usually, as I said, it's about 5 weeks. We're running the same strength training movement patterns. Because usually, clients, it takes a couple weeks to learn them. And then once you learn them, you have a big, large range to progress in. So, a good coach comes up with a plan, but a great trainer adjusts the plan on the fly if needed, which is common. And if you work at a big box gym, if you're a trainer or you're getting trained at a big box gym, sometimes the trainer might have a plan and the equipment might be taken. There's a gym near me, and it's like one of the only gyms, and my town has 70,000 people and we don't have a gym. And so it's the next town over that has that gym. That gym is packed all the time. Doesn't matter the time of day. And there's a pool, and there are not a lot of pools. It's only a 3-lane pool. And that pool is always full. I feel so bad I had to swim with an old lady yesterday, and she was trying to walk and not get her hair wet. I'm like, well, 1, you're in the pool, so put on like a little swim cap or something. But 2, yeah. So, anyway, good coach, good trainer has a plan and a game plan. And they can explain to you what the plan is and why it's going to benefit you and your goals. If you're going to a gym and you're telling your trainer you're trying to lose body fat, and they put you on cardio equipment or make you do HIIT, high intensity interval training circuits, get a new trainer. Cardio is great for body composition. Well, no. Backtrack that. Cardio is great for heart health and overall health, mitochondrial health, metabolic health. It's good for you. It's good to move your body. Most of us work at a desk, like myself. So it's great to move your body. But cardio should not be the foundation of fat loss. Because most people, that's an easy thing to do, right? It's one movement pattern over and over again, like running, elliptical, Stairmaster. As I said yesterday, masochists use those. Swimming, pretty standard, right? They are, swimming and running are very technical, but like a cardio equipment, pretty straightforward. So usually people gravitate towards that. That's like manually burning calories. So if you're going to a trainer and you're like, I want to lose body fat and improve my metabolism, they should be helping you get really strong and build muscle. And you should be doing strength training movements and resting in between sets. That's why the HIIT, that's a great way to manually burn calories and improve your cardiovascular health and VO2 max, but it's not great for building muscle. And as I said, most people never try to build muscle. People are always trying to lose weight. So a good trainer and good coach, they're going to get you to try to build muscle first, because that's going to break that chronic dieting cycle, that all or nothing cycle. It's going to help build your metabolism, your metabolic rate. It's going to help you feel good. Muscle is super important for not only your immune system and ability to move in metabolism, but also your hormones, your brain, blood sugar regulation. Like, it's so great. There's a Dr. Gabrielle Lyon calls muscle the organ of longevity, and that is so true. I look at my grandmothers, and they were always falling and getting injured. They were super weak and feeble as they were aging because they never moved their bodies. They never got strong. They never lifted things. As they aged, they just kept sitting and using a walker and using a wheelchair, and they didn't eat enough either. So they were underfueling. They loved sweets. God bless them. I love sweets, but that's all they ate. They would like skip on the main meals and just kind of eat the dessert and stuff. And I understand it tastes better, but that's why they lost a lot of muscle mass. They weren't eating protein, fruits and vegetables, probably not drinking enough water. They weren't moving very much, not even walking. And they're weak. They're feeble. They didn't have a lot of muscle mass on their frame. So, good trainer, good coach, they're going to get you to try to build muscle first. And as I said, most people don't like that. But if you want to stay stuck, then keep doing what you're doing. Hire that coach that's going to make you manually burn calories. Do that. Good luck. That's going to suck. The workouts are going to make you feel crappy because most people are overstressed, underslept anyway. So doing HIIT and high intensity cardio and circuits, that's going to make you feel like crap later in the day. You're going to be exhausted. So instead, find a good trainer that's teaching you how to do the movements, but also helping you get strong and build muscle. That leads me to my last point. A bad trainer is never going to watch you. A good trainer should be looking at you as you're doing the movements and making sure you're doing the form properly, and should be adjusting your form as you're doing the movement if it needs tweaking. Because if you're doing the movement wrong, that's when most people get injured. At the gym I go to, there's trainers, they do like group classes, group strength training, quote unquote strength training classes. And I see older women, I know they're trying to lose weight. I know. The coach is not even watching them. Most of them are doing the movements wrong. And it's not my place. I don't work there. I don't know them. I'm also, if you see me at the gym, I swear I am not an asshole. I am in the zone when I work out. I'm in the zone. If I'm doing something, I have my headphones in, I'm focusing on the movement I'm going to do or the exercise I'm doing. This happens at the gym too, because there are like no pools in Utah County where I live, so I literally have to go to a big box gym to swim, because that's the closest pool to me. And I hate to drive. And the other pools are so full because there's like only one pool for like all the high schools. All the high schools have swim teams and none of them have pools. How does that make any sense? Anyway, I feel bad because the little old people are trying to share a lane with me. And you know what I'm doing? I'm in the zone. I don't see what's going on up there, and my goggles get all fogged up. But anyway, same thing at the gym. I swear I'm not an asshole. I'm just in the zone focusing or thinking about my business or clients or whatever else is running through my brain all the time. But it's not my place because I don't work there. I don't know anybody very well. It's a pretty social gym. People are really nice. There's people who've introduced themselves to me. And I always feel bad because I'm like, oh, hi, because I'm not looking at other people. I might be looking at other people, but I'm not thinking about looking at other people. I'm like in the zone. Anyway, it's not my place, but I wish I could. So, anyway, a bad coach, bad trainer, never going to look at your form. Going to make you feel like you're manually burning calories, you're sweating. Great job, great job. No, if your form isn't good, trainer might be like, where do you feel that? And if you feel it in the wrong muscle, you know what the trainer's going to do? They're going to make an adjustment. I was training clients yesterday morning, and one of my clients, he was squatting, and he was leaning very far forward. We've been working on his hip and ankle mobility. He just doesn't have that quite unlocked yet. And this was the first set of squats. I'm like, where do you feel it? He's like, my hamstrings and my glutes. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do box squats. Where did he feel it? In his quads. Cool. Right? So I made an adjustment. I had a plan, but I made an adjustment. And I watched his form because I realized he wasn't doing the movement properly. He wasn't in any immediate danger, so I didn't need to stop it. But I'm also progressing him, right? This gentleman, I'm not starting him on a barbell. He needs to be able to properly move his body in a squat position. And so we're trying to get his body to a point where he can do a loaded squat. But right now we're just focusing on body weight because it's not safe for him to load the movement because he's not doing it right. That's the other problem I notice. People not doing the movements right and their trainer's loading the weight. I'm like, what are you doing? This person's going to get injured and sue you. But not know that you were the problem probably because you've never taught them or talked to them. Bad coach, trainer, always on their phone. If you're in an in-person session and the trainer's on their phone the whole time, caveat it that a lot of the fitness coaching apps, as a coach, I can start my clients' workouts and log the sets and weights and things, which is really awesome. So sometimes I'll do that, but I tell my clients, hey, I'm going to start your workout on my phone and just make sure that we're following the plan that was laid out, that I pre-prepared based on last week. And anyway, if your coach is not paying attention to you, they're like sipping on their coffee, they're scrolling social media, get a new trainer. You deserve better. So anyway, that's all I can think of right now. But if anything else comes to mind, or if you have any experiences with a bad trainer or coach, comment that below. Share it. That way, because as I said, like, this is pretty new. Most people looking for a trainer or a coach have never had one before, so they don't know what to look for, right? Oh, the final thing. A bad trainer on the first assessment, the first in-person session, is going to beat you up, make you sweat really hard and work really hard, and they're not going to assess your movement patterns. That's a bad coach. A good coach is going to assess your movement patterns before trying to get you to do any exercise, because it is unsafe to have somebody who you've never seen move just jump right in to exercises. And if their movement patterns are off, they're going to get themselves injured, and it's a liability for you and terrible as a professional. Like, imagine a doctor has an appointment with you and they're like, cool, you think you have a spine injury? Let me just cut you open. What? They didn't run any tests or exams to make sure that that's actually what you have? They didn't order an MRI or an X-ray or run some labs? That's insane. This is not as extreme, but still extreme. I mean, it's still a problem. You should assess, a good coach assesses new clients before making them do anything. Because most people don't know how to move their body in space very well, because most of us are not moving that much. Most of us are not super athletic. Most of us move in up and down, front to back movement patterns. We're not moving side to side. We don't twist. That felt good. Anyway, so a good coach, good trainer is going to assess you before getting you to do any movements. And again, that's all I can think of. So if you have had a bad experience with a trainer or coach, you don't roast the coach or the trainer, but share what they did and why it was bad. Because then somebody who's going through this, they might listen to this and be like, oh, I had no idea that my trainer shouldn't do that. Or maybe I'm going to ask my trainer about this next week. Because again, maybe there's a reason. And so first thing, if your trainer's doing any of these things, ask. Ask your trainer why. If they can't explain to you why, red flag. Trainer or coach. Or if they get upset at you for asking why, red flag. So, anyway, hopefully this was helpful. If this was a helpful episode, if you could share the show, rate the show, subscribe, or comment below, that just helps me get in front of more people, which helps me help more people, which is the goal of the show. So anyway, on that note, hope you all have a great whatever day of the week this is, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.